How's it everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how I dry board a concrete slab all by myself. It's easier than it seems, and best of all, you can do this without a huge concrete mixer. Let's go. We had this dirt area in our yard that wasn't really being used, and we wanted to turn it into a small outdoor hangout spot. This slab is just under 8 by 8 feet, and I decided to dry pour the concrete completely by myself. No mixer, no truck, no workers, just bags, water, and time. After cleaning the area, I marked out the footprint for the slab so I knew exactly where to dig. As I mentioned earlier, the slab is going to be close to 8 feet by 8 feet, 242 centimeters by 242 centimeters to be exact. I'm not being too meticulous with the measurements here. This is just to plot out where I'm going to be digging. It's going to be most important later when I put my frame up. Now I'm gonna dig out the area for my concrete slab. The soil here is a little bit hard, so I'm just gonna water it to loosen it up. I made sure to get rid of any grass or weeds while I was doing my digging. The pipe for my storm drain is going to be under this concrete slab, so I made sure to be careful while I was working around this area. Now I'm going to measure and cut the 2x4s to build the form for the concrete slab. I'm going to measure and cut two sides at 242 centimeters and two sides at 250 centimeters to compensate for the width of the 2x4s. I'll assemble my frame using 2.5-inch wood screws. I'm going to secure the form in place using metal and wooden stakes. I'm going to be extra careful to make sure that everything is square and that the measurement from the wall to my frame is equal on both sides. Now I'm going to pour in my base layer for my concrete slab. I'm going to fill my frame up halfway using these 2 to 4 centimeter stones. I'm also going to backfill with soil to reinforce the frame. This is what they use here in Japan. It's a dorai nomakon. It's an instant concrete with crushed gravel in it. I can't remember the exact number, but I used somewhere around 44 to 46 bags of this concrete. I've never worked with this much concrete before, and for anyone else that hasn't, this might look intimidating, but honestly, it's way more manageable than it seems. The key is taking it slow, working in sections, and focusing on getting everything level. I worked in batches of about 10 bags at a time, screeding each section level and using the extra mix to fill in any low areas before moving on. I repeated the process until the entire slab was complete. I oversized the screed board about 6 inches so it could rest on both sides of the form. Then I used the side-to-side motion as I pulled it across to keep everything level and consistent. To clean up the edges, I used a concrete edger, running it along the form to smooth and shape the perimeter. I made a few steady passes back and forth to create a clean, consistent edge all the way around the slab. To finish out the surface, I used the paint roller and made a few light passes to even out the texture and smooth out the top. Next, I started curing the slab by spraying it with water. I began with a light mist. The goal here isn't to soak it, just to dampen the surface evenly without washing anything out. I used a multi-setting hose nozzle so I could control the spray and avoid heavy watermarks. I didn't want to spray straight up and let water fall hard onto the surface, so I kept the spray low and controlled. After letting that initial mist set for about an hour, I came back and gave the slab its first light shower. In total, I misted it once and followed up with 3 light showers to help it cure properly. I wasn't exactly sure how much water the slab needed with each pass, so instead of measuring, I watched how the surface reacted. As long as the water wasn't pooling or running off too quickly, I knew it was soaking in. The slower it drained, the more confident I felt that the slab was properly saturated. I was planning to come back for a third light shower, but the weather in Japan had other plans. It started pouring. Even the spiders were looking for cover. At that point, the safest move would have been to cover the slab, but I decided to leave it exposed and see how the rain would affect it. Worst case scenario, if it ruined the surface, I could live with that. You can see a few areas where the surface hadn't fully set yet, and the heavy rain left small divots. Still, I let the slab cure undisturbed for the next 3 days and came back to check on the results. There are a few small blemishes on the slab, but overall it turned out solid. Since I'll be tiling over it, these imperfections aren't an issue. If rain is in the forecast, it's still a good idea to protect the slab and cover it while it cures. I'll also go back and patch a few spots just to give myself a flatter, more even surface when I start tiling. I'll show you how I do that later on. After letting the slab cure for 3 days, I removed the forms to see how it turned out. Honestly, I'm really happy about it. There are a few spots around the edges where the concrete didn't fully reach, but structurally it feels solid. It held up through heavy rain without washing it out, and for a small seating area like this, I'm not worried about strength or cracking. I won't be parking a truck here, just using it as a simple hangout spot. To finish this slab, I'm going to patch a few small areas. First, I'm applying a mortar-based primer to help the basa mortaru adhere properly. Basa mortaru is basically a mix of instant mortar and water. I'm aiming for a damp, packable consistency. It should clump together in my hand without dripping. I'll press it into the divots and pack it in tight to level everything out. And that is it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was easier than I expected, and if you're on the fence about doing something like this, you too can definitely do it. I'll be tiling this area next, so make sure to check out that video. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, mahalo and aloha.